Having more and more won't solve the problem, and happiness does not lie in possessions or even relationships. The answer lies within ourselves. If we can't find peace and happiness there, it's not going to come from the outside. Initially, I was a little embarrassed to even admit that I had a problem with shopping, but once I shared my story with others, I realized that I wasn't alone, and that other people struggled with shopping and impulse spending too. My name is Eden, and in this video I'm going to share how I overcame my shopping addiction. Plus, I'll teach you 5 life-changing habits that you can start today. So, let's go back to where it all began, shall we? My love for shopping started when I was just 12 years old. My family moved to Canada from the US, and I didn't know anyone at my new school yet. As an introvert, it was difficult to make friends quickly, and I felt pretty lonely. I remember my mom taking me shopping to get new clothes for school. This little shopping spree made me so happy. It made me feel like having a new wardrobe would make me more likable. It was in this moment that I learned how shopping was an easy and fun way to boost my mood. Once I graduated from school and got my first job, I blew all my money on clothes. Shopping became like a sport for me, and I was always searching for that next item to buy. In the beginning, I was a bargain hunter. I didn't really care about brands, but loved having something unique to wear. But slowly, my taste in fashion started getting more expensive. Designer shoes and handbags became my weakness. Living in a big city like Toronto made me feel like I needed to own certain items and do certain things in order to show my worth to others. If I was walking on the street and someone saw my shoes or handbags, it would give off that silent flex that I was successful and I had my life together. But the truth is, I was making an entry-level salary and I couldn't afford to keep up with the lifestyle that I was trying to portray. I used retail therapy for years to cope with stress, which left me feeling unsatisfied and frustrated about my finances. I basically went broke trying to look rich. After being burnt out from the 9-to-5 life, it seemed like scrolling and buying stuff to make me happy was the easiest solution. I thought having a big wardrobe would make me more likable, happier, more confident, and help me land that job promotion. But all it did was left me with no savings and immense feelings of guilt. I was getting further and further away from the life that I wanted to live, and I didn't understand why. Now, shopping has found a healthy place in my life. I've learned a few things about what works and what doesn't work when it comes to getting good with money. And this gives me a chance to pass along this knowledge in hopes that you'll find it useful. Because I know you can do it. Now it's your turn to call back your power and create the life you want. At some point, we've all succumbed to the temptation to impulse spend. That's because online shopping is easy and convenient. Your favorite stores are open 24/7, so you can shop when you're bored or late at night when you need that quick pick-me-up. While it's nice to have nice things and treat yourself to a spontaneous shopping spree, making regular, unplanned purchases can be incredibly costly. Not to mention, browsing to see what's new, on sale, or searching endlessly for that perfect dress can eat up valuable time that could be spent on other things such as work, quality time with loved ones, or self-care. So can you actually be addicted to shopping? I know it may sound kind of silly because we live in a society that encourages us to shop and spend money. But yes, you can develop an addiction to shopping, just like some people may be addicted to gambling. How do you know, though, if you have a shopping problem instead of just making a few impulse purchases? Since most people enjoy shopping as a way to boost their mood, it's important to differentiate between the occasional impulse buy and a pattern that leads to a shopping problem. Here's a quick self-assessment that you can take to see if shopping may be a problem for you or a loved one in your life. If you answered yes to many of the questions, you might have an addiction to shopping. Do you shop when you're bored, feeling sad, angry, or disappointed? While shopping, do you feel a rush of excitement or euphoria? After shopping, do you feel guilty or like you've just done something wild? Has shopping and overspending created problems in your life? Do you ever lie about what you bought or how much you spent on shopping? Do you frequently buy things that you never end up wearing or using? Do you think about shopping like what you're going to buy next and money most of the time? And finally, have your friends, partner, or family members expressed concern about your shopping and spending habits? There's no doubt about it, shopping makes us happy, at least in the short term. If you're feeling sad, or frustrated, turning to retail therapy can be a great way to distract yourself. It can also help restore a sense of control in your life, and it feels so good to give into instant gratification. However, in the long term, shopping can become problematic if it creates financial problems and turns into a full-blown addiction. Fortunately, there are ways to overcome a shopping addiction and find a healthy place for shopping in your life. And no, you don't have to become a minimalist or boycott all shopping to do this. Because unlike a gambling addiction, where someone can remove themselves from a gambling environment, shopping is a part of our lives. We shop when we need to buy things we need, gifts for loved ones, and so on. That's why it's essential to learn how to shop and spend with intention. Now, let's dive into the 5 life-changing habits that help me overcome my online shopping addiction. I hope you'll find them useful in curbing impulse buys and overspending on instant gratification. Number 1. Take full responsibility for your actions. Taking full responsibility for your actions means acknowledging the role that you play in your own life, both the good and bad parts. Accepting responsibility for our actions is hard, and it's not something that we're taught how to do in our childhood, schools, or workplaces. When we make a mistake or a conflict arises, our natural reaction is to usually blame others, make excuses, or twist the facts around. Avoiding responsibility is a much easier way to temporarily cope with negative emotions, but the long-term consequences can be significant. Yes, life can be unpredictable at times, and some people or circumstances are outside of our control, but you are responsible for your own actions. You have the ability to acknowledge the problem, identify your role in it, and implement a plan of action to prevent it from happening again. Taking ownership and responsibility for your actions is an empowering reminder that you have the agency to influence your life. Instead of simply reacting to situations, you get to choose how to respond to them. While there are many ways to start taking responsibility for your actions, the first step that helped me the most was to stop making excuses. When I was struggling with my shopping addiction in my 20s, I used a million excuses to try and rationalize my spending habits. I've come a long way since then, and the biggest change was shifting my mindset to take full responsibility for my actions. I no longer ignore my bad spending habits or justify my spending by telling myself, "Don't feel bad." When I used to tell myself not to feel bad because I deserved to treat myself, or I had a long, hard day at work and shopping makes me happy, it only made me feel worse in the long run. At the end of the day, it wasn't okay to continue letting myself overspend because of XYZ or some other excuse I gave myself. Making excuses for myself wasn't productive, and it was hurting my finances and mental health in the long run. I'm responsible for my finances, and I couldn't keep running away from the consequences of my own choices. For me, creating a realistic budget was the best tool to hold myself accountable for my spending. My first budget was definitely not perfect though, but it got easier with more practice. Number 2, set a goal. When I was struggling with shopping, I didn't have any substantial goals. Instead, they were small, vague, or changed on a daily or weekly basis, depending on how I felt in the moment. Many of the goals I had actually sounded like, I'll be happy when. For example, I'll be happy when I finally get that designer bag, or my collection will finally be complete when I get that jacket. They were all tied to acquiring material things. I would save up my money to buy the item, and while it would bring me joy for a little while, it wasn't long before I was on the hunt for that next item that I just needed to have. Shopping was my hobby, and it felt like it was the answer to everything. You want to relieve boredom? Buy more stuff. Want to feel special? Buy more stuff. Want to feel good? Treat yourself. But my spending habits were quickly spiraling out of control. I was buying more stuff than I could possibly wear or use, which left me broke and feeling frustrated. Honestly, I didn't know what I was doing wrong. Eventually, I grew tired of feeling trapped in the mindless cycle of social media, scrolling on shopping apps, watching tons of YouTube hauls, and buying stuff all the time. The new clothes that I was buying wasn't helping me get promoted at work, it didn't bring me long-term happiness, and they didn't transform me into the person that I thought I would become, such as more confident, beautiful, outgoing, and so on. It was time to actually set goals that would make a positive difference and help me achieve the life that I wanted. Now you may be thinking, I don't know what goals to set, or is it even necessary to set goals? For me, I can attest to the importance of setting high-value goals and how it's been a total game changer for me. I got clear on what my definition of time well spent to me and slowly replaced low-value activities with high-value ones. If you want to get good with money and turn your life around, you need to set goals. Goals can help align your focus on what tasks and behaviors will give you maximum results while weeding out wasted efforts and distractions. They can help sustain the motivation that you need to stay on track. Setting goals and committing to them is just another way to take back control of your life. Before you can decide what to pursue, you need to list out all your possibilities. Start by asking yourself, what do I want to do with my money? And what do you want your life to look and feel like? I know that I wasn't happy working all the time, earning money to buy a bunch of things that I didn't even really need or use. And all of that stuff really just created clutter, which left me feeling stressed because it was suffocating. So write down a list of ideas that you'd like to achieve. And try not to judge each idea as you write down. Just write down whatever comes to mind. Enact a no self-criticism rule while you're brainstorming. For example, do you want to build a savings cushion, move somewhere new, save up to buy a car, save for a down payment on a home, or go on a fun vacation? Here's a few prompts that can help you get thinking. What is the most important problem that you can work on solving right now? What would you do if money were no object? What are your top 5 priorities in your life right now? Where do you see yourself in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? What is holding you back from living the life you imagine? When setting a goal, try your best to take an outside view. Have you ever noticed that when your friends or family are struggling, you can clearly see the next steps that they should take, but they can't see them? This is because it's hard for us to view ourselves objectively. So try and step outside of your own experiences and pretend that you're the protagonist in a novel. Fill in the blank. They should just do that next. Now revisit your list of ideas and just choose one to focus on for now. When choosing your goal, factor in how much time it will take to achieve, your level of excitement towards the goal, how difficult it will be to reach the goal, and what impact the goal will have, what short-term and long-term opportunities it creates. I also recommend applying SMART goal principles to help you get crystal clear on what you want to achieve. This means that your goals should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Then make a tangible goal for your savings account and set a date for when you want it completed. This means you'll need to figure out exactly how much money you need to reach your goal and create a realistic time frame to do this. Something that helps me is each time I get paid, I auto-deposit the money to my savings account that I need to save for my goal. For example, if you want to build a $1,000 emergency fund in the next 5 months, this means you'll need to save $200 per month in order to reach your goal. When I was struggling with shopping, I set a goal to save enough money so I can go back to school and get a better job. Each day, I reminded myself of my goal, prayed on it, kept a gratitude journal, and this helped me to sustain the motivation I needed to reach my goal. Now my goal is to buy a home. This requires good financial habits, and it's my main motivation to stay on track. Shopping has found a healthy place in my life, and I have no desire to buy random stuff that I don't need. But I am human, and there are some situations that can trigger me to impulse spend, which is why for 2023, I'm doing a low buy year to help keep me in check. Number 3, implement new habits. Just like trying to change any addictive or habitual behavior, shopping less is a lot easier if you're busy enjoying other things, instead of chasing a shopper's high to function as normal. Initially, it's going to be tough to find other things that you enjoy doing, especially if shopping was your main hobby like it used to be for me. When you're removing an undesirable habit, such as shopping in this case, you'll need to replace it with a new and attractive habit. The key is to be patient and loving with yourself during this transition. It took time to develop the spending habit, and it's going to take time to change it too. Our mind likes familiar things because it makes us feel comfortable. So moving from spending all your time shopping to exploring new hobbies and implementing better spending habits probably won't happen overnight. In the past, I was spending around $1,000 a month on things that I didn't need for almost 2 years. And it sounds so crazy to say that out loud. But I knew that if I wanted to save enough money to go back to school, I needed to regain control of my spending. I set a goal to reduce my spending to $100 a month on my wants. This included things like shoes, clothes, handbags, beauty products, and other things that were non-essential. $100 might seem a little extreme, but I needed to be strict with myself. And ideally, I wanted to spend $0 a month on my wants, but that just didn't feel realistic for me at the time. $100 a month was challenging, but it gave me enough wiggle room in my budget to help me let go of the habit of impulse buying everything that I saw. And during this challenge, not every month was great. But after several months, I was thriving. It became so much easier to say no to those impulse purchases, and I felt a lot more confident about where my money was going. I can only speak from my own experience, and I appreciate that everyone is different. What worked for me may not work for you, but I hope that you'll find these tips helpful in navigating your own shopping journey. Once I reached my goal of saving enough money to go back to school, I was ready to start my next challenge, which was to do the No New Clothing Challenge for a year. I know that doing a no-buy challenge is not for everyone, but you can put better boundaries in place for your spending so you can do so much more with your money. Clothes was the area of my budget that I struggled with the most, which is why doing this challenge was so important for my own personal growth. While there are many strategies that help me stick to my no-buy year, here are 2 tips that made the biggest impact. Pause before you buy. Every time I wanted to buy something I didn't need, I would wait as long as possible before buying it. If I felt that I urgently needed to buy it, I would transfer the amount that I wanted to spend into savings. I made a mental rule that my savings account is deposit only and no transfers were allowed out. And number 2, limit or get rid of social media. Over the past few years, I've quietly stepped away from most of my social media accounts, including Instagram. Out of sight, out of mind is the best practice for me. What I don't know about I don't want. You have to tell yourself that you are in control of your money, and you don't have to give in because of some impulsive feeling or desire. This is about finding a happy balance between shopaholic and extreme frugality. To do this, you need to pick an area that is important to you and budget for it. For example, buying healthy groceries and traveling is important to me, but I'm no longer interested in buying designer clothes or expensive makeup. You get to decide what cuts are worth it versus what you truly love and aligns with your goals. When I was doing my no-buy journey, I tried to use some of the stuff that I already have. And if you're about to do a no-buy or low-buy year, I encourage you to do the same. This is because you might realize that you're keeping a lot of stuff that you like in theory, but don't actually like in practice. For instance, I used to love high heels, and I would buy so many all the time. But I realized that I prefer to wear boots, flats, or sneakers. I also unsubscribed from channels that were haul heavy. I realized that a lot of influencers were just recommending products that they got for free or raving about how this was the holy grail of XYZ. I was constantly fighting with that little voice in my head that said, just treat yourself, which was super dangerous for my wallet and mental well-being. Point number 4, declutter to make space for the life you want. I have an entire chapter dedicated to this point in my ebook, The Intentional Spender, but I'll mention it here too because it is so important. Decluttering is one of the fastest and most powerful ways to manifest more abundance in your life. And decluttering doesn't just mean donating clothes that you no longer wear. It means getting rid of everything in your life that no longer serves you, and most importantly, is no longer aligned with your values. When you declutter, you're creating more room for opportunities and better things to come into your life. So start by focusing on the area that is causing you the most stress, grief, or anxiety in your life. For me, this was my bedroom. I had an overflowing wardrobe. There was items stored in boxes under my bed, in the closet, in the corner of my room, under the sink on my bathroom vanity. It was getting out of control. Every little nook and cranny of my bedroom had something stuffed into it. This included clothes, shoes, handbags, beauty products, and tons of stuff that I even forgot I owned. I don't know if you've seen the show Hoarders on TLC, but after I watched this show for the first time, this gave me the wake-up call that I needed before my life started to head in this direction. You see, I had trouble letting go of anything. I was holding on to old ticket stubs from concerts I went to, birthday cards, trinket gifts from friends that I no longer kept in touch with, clothing that was too small, hoping that I would fit into them someday, designer bags that stayed in their dust bags because I was too afraid to use them, and shoes that I didn't wear because they were too uncomfortable. Buying stuff and growing my collection gave me a feeling of comfort, but I realized that I was using material things to fill a void in my life and search for happiness. For me, decluttering took time. I divided my bedroom into several small sections, and then I slowly went through each section to declutter items. And selling my stuff was a sobering experience because it made me realize how little value some of the stuff I bought actually were. Some of the items that I spent hours searching for and I thought were valuable weren't seen as desirable by others. I also found tons of items that I forgot I owned, were rarely used, or never got used. And most of the stuff either went out of style, didn't fit me anymore, or didn't align with my interests. For instance, I had tons of makeup and beauty products, but what's the point of having over 30 bottles of nail polish if I regularly just use 3 of them? Beauty products are perishable, and I won't be able to finish a fraction of my collection before they go bad. I was ashamed by my spending habits, but instead of hiding away from my emotions like I used to, I acknowledge my negative emotions to help me do better. Studies show that when we feel shame, it actually shuts down our creativity. But with creative expression, you can actually push through and conquer shame. To inspire my own creativity, I tried to use everything that I already had. This meant trying different makeup looks, putting together new outfit combinations, and finally using all those skincare products that I bought. This helped me to better understand what I actually like using and wearing, and to declutter the stuff that I didn't need. And remember, there is absolutely zero pressure to get rid of anything that you're not quite sure about yet. If you're unsure about any item, put that item in a maybe box and store that box in your closet for a few months. Then when you revisit those items, you may just find a new appreciation for them. Decluttering my closet and other areas of my life gave me peace. Each time I let go of something, it made me so happy because I was inviting more abundance and joy into my life and freeing up space. Cleaning my apartment has become so much easier because there's less stuff to dust and take care of. My day-to-day life has become more enjoyable because there's less mess and less clutter to worry about. I used to spend hours checking out shopping apps and online shopping to see what was new, any upcoming promotions, and what hit the sales section. But now I have more time, more energy, and I can focus on what truly makes me the happiest in life. Number 5, embrace adversity and practice gratitude. The best way to push through adversity is to simply embrace it. This involves digging deep to examine your own limiting money beliefs and to figure out exactly what's holding you back from living the life you imagine. Everyone's limiting beliefs will be different. For instance, some of my limiting beliefs were, I'm not good with money. I'm not good enough. I need to buy new clothes to be taken seriously by my peers. I need to buy more makeup to be beautiful. My peers will judge me if I repeat the same outfit. Limiting beliefs can have a number of negative consequences, such as preventing you from taking new opportunities and reaching your full potential. Fortunately, you can change your limiting beliefs by challenging your negative self-talk and practicing self-compassion. Replace negative self-talk with empowering beliefs that will help you work towards your goals instead of hindering them. For example, instead of saying, I'm not good with money, say, I haven't been good at managing money yet, but I'm learning and getting better each day. Another way to embrace adversity is to practice gratitude. Practicing gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to create more abundance and happiness in your life.
One of my favorite quotes that helps keep me in check is actually from Oprah Winfrey. She said, if you look at what you have in life, you will always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you will never have enough. So start by practicing gratitude for what you already have. It's hard to feel lack when you're focused on everything that you have. As Tony Robbins says, gratitude is the solution to anger and fear. You can't be angry and grateful simultaneously. Now, this can be as simple as keeping a gratitude journal. For example, each morning I like to spend a few minutes writing down at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And they can be both little or small things. When you feel the need to buy things that you don't need, ask yourself, why isn't what I already have enough right now? Why do I feel like I need to buy another or replace something? The truth is, you will always feel like you're behind whenever a new thing comes out, or if you decided to settle for something to suit your needs for now. It takes practice to shut down that little voice, but it's possible, and it all starts by practicing gratitude. What I've come to realize is that my true motivation doesn't come from a place to acquire more things. It comes from a place to inspire others. You are already at 100% capacity of who you are. The void that I was so desperately trying to fill through mindless shopping was already filled. I was just thinking that it wasn't. The only void we create is the void from our own mind. The void doesn't actually exist. We just keep telling ourselves that we need to do X, Y, Z in order to fill it. I mean, have you ever caught yourself saying, I'll be happy when, such as, I'll be happy when I finally get that new handbag, or I'll be happy when I finally get that promotion at work? Be happy now. Practicing gratitude has taught me to live in the present and be mindful. Life may not be perfect, and we all have ups and downs, but you can choose to practice gratitude and allow it to energize you and bring hope.
Even during tough times, keeping a gratitude journal has allowed me to see the bigger picture and get less overwhelmed by temporary circumstances. It's not easy to do, and I'm still practicing, but it's totally worth the effort. Because like any muscle, your gratitude will get stronger the more you practice it. No matter what is happening in our lives, we always get to choose how we think about and respond to it.